Okay, so we've got Joby Clayton with me here. He was coach of Ben Whittaker during his time at Firewalk and also coached him privately. Great to have you with us, Joby. Just tell us, first of all, when you first came across Ben in a sort of boxing capacity.
Okay, well, I actually trained his father. Tony, Benjamin's father, is a good friend of mine. So I've known Benjamin all of his life. I'm actually his godfather. And when Tony used to still come down to the gym that I used to train at, and Tony would keep fit and he would spar. And he used to bring his young son with him, Benjamin, when Benjamin was very, very small. I mean, literally 3 years old. And Benjamin would watch in awe at his father training, because so many of Benjamin's attributes his father had, you know, the wonderful rhythm and the defensive movements. And I'm sure that those early times when Benjamin was watching his father must have been his hero, and he's looking up at his father doing these amazing movements in sparring, and I'm sure it must have really had a massive impact on his young life. And I think that's come about, you know, we see that now in his boxing style. So I've known him from a very young age. He used to come down the gym as a young kid. And then Tony wanted him to start getting into boxing, so he used to bring him to me. We used to do a little bit of pad work, like on a weekend when he was at school. And, you know, Tony used to train him at home. And, you know, you could see that he was a wonderful child. He was such full of energy, full of joy, full of jokes. So he's very similar to how he is now. And then Tony, they lived in Darlaston in the West Midlands. It's a stone's throw away from Wednesbury. So Benjamin started his amateur career at Wodensborough under Steve O'Rourke and Varouche, and that's how he really started to get into boxing.
Could you see from quite an early age then? Obviously, you mentioned the talents of his dad, but could you see from quite an early age that he'd got something, you know, a bit special about him and that it was going to go far?
I wouldn't say that I could see something that he was special, because to me he was like he was like so many young kids. There's so many young kids who are talented, and he was certainly in that mix. But I remember him around the age of 14. Around the age of 14, he started to become more disciplined about his training. He started to take his running a little bit more seriously. He started to take his nutrition a little bit more seriously. An incident I remember, he used to come to the gym, and if he trained well, his father used to say to him, "Oh, son, you've trained really well. Let's go to KFC." And literally at the age of 14, he turned around to his father and he says, "Dad, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to start eating healthier." And you know, 14 years old is a very young age to be starting to think like that, and starting to have a vision about how he wants to train. And that's when I really noticed Benjamin starting to progress, when he really started to take it seriously around the ages of 14 and 15.
Can you remember anything? Did you even attend possibly his first bout or his first few bouts?
Yes, absolutely. And he's, you know, he had wonderful spirit. He had incredible fast hands. And his father and myself had instilled in him, but really his father had instilled in him footwork. So he had this great footwork. He was in and out. And, you know, he was doing really well. I think he was a little bit of a slow burner early on. I don't think he competed in the schoolboy championships. So when he did start to compete in the junior championships, he was boxing much more experienced kids than himself. And I think he got to the finals a couple of times as a junior, and he lost in the finals in close bouts against maybe more experienced kids.
Can you remember his first title as well? I mean, I guess that, you know, winning that first national title at whatever level, it's a big thing for any boxer, isn't it?
Yeah, and he just it was kind of, yeah, it was a real special time in his career because he'd started to dedicate himself. He was seeing the rewards of his dedication, and I think that was a really powerful thing for him, because now he is amongst the most dedicated athletes I've ever trained, and consequently, you know, he's doing as well as he's doing. But I think that was a powerful thing for Benjamin himself at that time. He saw the dedication, and then he realized that he was getting these results. And I think I can't remember which title it was that he won, whether it was the old NABCs or a junior title, but you know, he was there or thereabouts as a junior, and it was great to see.
And when did the sort of prospect of GB come onto the horizon? Was that winning the senior national title, or was it before then?
It was actually before then. He was, I think like I said, I think he'd won a junior title, and then he was starting to win youth titles. So he was going up there as an England boxer, and you know, once they kind of get a foot in the door, and once the GB setup can have a little look at him, which is why it's so important to have these England pathways, so that they can really start to funnel the prospects through. Because once they saw that Benjamin, you know, they could see the potential in him. So I think it was there or thereabouts when he was 16, he was going up and representing as an England boxer. And then boxing under Wodensborough, he had his first senior bout actually in the elites championships, you know, and that's certainly winning the elites in his first year as a senior kind of cemented that he was a real top prospect coming through.
You mentioned early on the fact that he likes a bit of a laugh and a joke. Did you think his sort of personality comes over in the ring? He seems quite a relaxed character, quite a confident character. Is that how he is in private?
Yeah, and you know, his ring personality just comes out. It just shines. And I would say his personality, I mean, you know, I'm a little bit biased being his godfather and being around him and, you know, having such admiration and love for him that, but I really see his personality on a day-to-day basis, and he is full of jokes, and, you know, he's a real caring character. But you do see that ring personality coming out in his everyday life.
And how important do you think it is to kind of, you know, have that confidence going into the Olympics? Because, you know, as much as I think he was the number one seed for the European qualifier competition, got to the final, did really well. You know, you obviously got people coming in from different areas of the world into the Olympic tournaments itself. So how important is it to have that confidence going in?
It's incredibly important to have it going in. But I think the beauty of the GB setup is that they do the 4-year cycle. So he would have started off, I mean, he went to the Commonwealths as a youth, he went to the Commonwealths as a senior. He's done the European Games a couple of times. He's done under 22 international tournaments. He's done a world tour. He's done a world, you know, the World Championships. And this has given him, it's given him a foundation and a confidence that he can go into the Olympics and compete, because really he's going to be competing with a lot of the people who he's already seen and sparred and fought.
Absolutely. How proud are you personally, and how proud do you think his clubs will be, both Wodensborough and Firewalker, who's come through, to see him actually out there at the Olympics? Obviously, shame that people can't go along to support personally, but obviously be watching it on TV. How proud will people be of him?
Oh, immensely proud, immensely proud. I mean, it's such an achievement to go to the Olympic Games. It's such an achievement of years of dedication from so many people. You know, there's an African proverb that it takes a village to raise a child. And there's so many good-hearted expertise have gone into helping Benjamin become the athlete and to be given the opportunities that he has been given. You know, so like you say, Wodensborough, Steve O'Rourke, Varouche, Firewalker, these institutions, these pillars of the community, they should be really proud of themselves.
Absolutely. And what, knowing him as you do, what do you think it would mean to him if he could go on and get a medal? I mean, it's obviously a fantastic achievement just to get to the Olympics, but I know every GB boxer will want to try a medal as well. So what would it mean, do you think, if he could get a medal?
Oh, it'd just be outstanding. It'd be outstanding. And it would be the accumulation. I mean, you know, I've been training boxers over 30 years. His father was a wonderful boxer, but he had his career cut short. And to see Benjamin doing what he's doing, and from knowing him from a baby, from a young child, seeing all the hard work that he has put in, all the smart work, all the early mornings, and the sacrifices knowing all the sacrifices that he's made, and all the GB athletes have made to put themselves in that position, it would be really a sense of achievement, and just really pleased for anybody who manages to become successful in that arena.
And just finally, one last word, if you would, a message for Ben going into the Olympics. What would you like to say to him?
Well, I would just say, Benjamin, just be you. Enjoy the whole event, and you know, you deserve to be there. You deserve all the success in the world.
Brilliant. Thanks ever so much for chatting to us, JB. It's been great to hear from you and get that insight into Ben's amateur career. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Matt.